Hello and welcome to yet another edition of News 18 Yuva Bharat. Ladies and gentlemen, it's tough. It's tough all around because our medical infrastructure cannot handle the kind of surge that we are seeing. 3 lakh cases per day for 8 days is something which was unprecedented and it's taken everybody by surprise. But today we're going to salute those who are working tirelessly to help, who are working tirelessly to ensure that we continue to believe in ourselves and believe that we can beat this virus, because the data suggests that 95 to 98% of the people can recover at home and they can beat corona. But that 2% number is also quite big because we are a large base, aren't we? But let's celebrate those who are doing something to help people, and let's try and understand from them how they've been helping people and what they've been doing. And may this tribe grow. That's the only thing that I can pray for. Rishabh Shah of IMON, President IMON, is with us. Rishabh, you've curated this panel. Take this forward.
I think, like you said, young people are trying the level best in order to help, and so happy that all of these young change makers have joined. We have Zishan Siddiqui, is MLA from Bandra. Masoom Minawala, she's taking Indian fashion to the world, and also doing a bit for COVID. Neha Joshi, who's in charge of the BJYM and also the national media in charge, and so also the Oxygen Man, who sold his SUV, and the brothers have been helping people in almost every part of the city and now to different cities. So let me first come to Zishan, because I follow him on Instagram and I see that he's been doing so much for people in Bombay. How many requests do you get? Do you think things are improving and changing in Bombay? Or do you think it's yet difficult?
See, obviously, by the day, it is getting better, but obviously, it isn't as good as we want it to be. On Twitter, on Instagram, it's pretty crazy right now. We get hundreds and thousands of requests every minute, every hour. We try and reply to most of the people, but there are a few we aren't able to help, especially during midnight when people aren't answering their phone calls. The senior doctors aren't there at the facilities. Even helpline numbers are helpless sometimes. So that becomes a bit difficult, especially when panic sets in the night, and finding ICU beds, ventilators, etc. becomes difficult. There are requests for all sorts of things. I mean, medicines like remdesivir, toxilumab, and there is a shortage of things, but obviously we try and help out as much as we can. We've been helping people get ICU beds, ventilators. We've been distributing remdesivir vials for free. And we try and help out people, but there's always one or two people we aren't able to help out, and that's really doesn't let you sleep at night. I mean, at 4 a.m, if a daughter is looking for her, an ICU bed or a ventilator for her mother, and she's really helpless, but there aren't any ventilators available, so there's not much you can do. So that's where you feel really helpless at times, but it is what it is. So you've got to just move forward.
Very true. But Zishan, you said 1 or 2 people that you are unable to help. But of course, in your case, it's 1 or 2. In my case, sometimes it's 10 or 20 or 30 or 40 that I'm unable to help. Do you see this sense of helplessness also? And let me take this to Neha. Delhi is bad. Do you see a similar situation in Delhi? What are you guys doing in Delhi in order to help, per se?
Thank you for having me, Anand and Rishabh. The situation, I mean, we know everywhere it's bad, but Delhi is especially sinking. I mean, every case that we get for Delhi for a hospital bed, our first reaction is that there are no beds. If somebody is looking for a ventilator bed, it is impossible. And, no hospitals will pick up your phone. So the only way to find a hospital bed is to actually go to a hospital and verify. And we all know how that process goes. We've all seen those videos on social media, on different channels. So it's a struggle, Rishabh. And like you said, I think we experience helplessness more than anything else every time we answer a call, because the question is that will we be able to help that person or not? We sometimes try our best. Just day before, there were these 2 kids who lost their father. The mother was ill, and at 2 a.m. we were able to get a bed for her in a hospital in Uttam Nagar in Delhi. And it was almost like a victory. I think for an hour we celebrated that, thank God we were able to save this mother. The kids are not going to be orphaned. 6:30 in the morning, she lost. She didn't survive. So, the failures are more than successes. I think all of us personally are struggling right now because it's so overwhelming. Like, having done this for a straight 15 days now and, pulling all-nighters, I think we are at a point where, we really are praying to God, because we've seen that, there have been partial lockdowns at places, there are complete lockdowns at places, but clearly the spread of this virus has gone completely out of hand. And like we were talking before the show, there is this sense of panic that has really sort of, everybody seems to be overwhelmed with. So people who do not require hospitalization are occupying hospital beds. People who possibly could be healed at home, they're frantically calling doctors, standing outside hospitals. There was a video circulating from outside Zydus Hospital. There was a kilometer-long line of people just standing there waiting for tests, whereas doctors are saying you don't need to get tested. If you have even minor symptoms of COVID, take the COVID protocol, take those meds at home. If it gets serious, come to the hospital. And that's what we are trying, through our social media handles, through everything. That's the message that we are trying to get across to people, that let's try and lessen the burden on our healthcare system. We all have to make a conscious effort to do it.
But Neha, what you said, you're trying this through social media and so on and so forth, with nothing against the politicians. And I think Zishan and you are doing a great job, and you'll have some of the politicians who actually answer calls. I've reached out to Tejasvi and to Zishan at different points in time, and both have been very proactive. But Masoom, do you think that it's young people now for themselves and young people for the rest of the country? Because I see people like you who are, people who are celebrities, social media influencers, who are putting up these calls for help, these SOSs, and then other people are getting in touch, and that's how the emergency is being solved. Do you think that has contributed in a big way?
Yes, I think it's definitely contributed in a big way, because I think the youth of the country has really come together and put together, a lot of resources. Like, I know a group of entrepreneurs who maybe started to just collect funds and then buy oxygen cylinders and donate them to people who can't afford it. Now, it seems like an easy exercise, but you're saving so many lives through this process. That's absolutely crazy. Like yesterday, I think 3 to 4 people reached out to me saying, they have extra vials of remdesivir, which they had bought earlier for their grandparents or their parents, and who are feeling better now. But looking at the panic on Instagram, and looking at sort of, people sharing their requests and turning to the internet, that they actually felt like, okay, I have extra vials, let me share it with somebody who really needs it. And they were able to obviously share the contact just via the internet, via Instagram, and we were, through my platform, were able to give it to someone. So I think obviously today we don't have resources, right? Like, I don't have access to any resources. I am just, and I speak on the behalf of so many social media influencers who are doing this as well, just acting like a medium of like transportation, that I'm connecting someone who needs it to someone who has it. And I think right now, just with this state that the country is in, that somebody sitting in Kolkata, it's much easier for me sitting somewhere else to connect them to someone who can answer this query, this help that they need in Kolkata, because I have a much larger base. So I think for us, all of us, just internet users and influencers, there's a sense of responsibility that's kicking in. And I think our country needs us to use our platforms for beyond what we started them off for.
Rishabh, can I just add a comment here? Because you said something about politicians, and people can. I mean, politicians, because they enjoy power, they also have that responsibility. So I'm totally for people questioning them, holding them accountable. But also, Rishabh, what we're seeing on social media, it's only a tip of the iceberg. Okay, so I'll give you an example, and Zishan can correct me or agree with me on this. There are people who are working 24/7. For instance, in my small hometown, I'm in Dehradun right now. We set up a new ICU in Mussoorie, which has 30 beds. This is not something that we did. We contributed in the way that we provided some extra oximeters. We got the word out. But it's actually the leaders who are working here around the clock who were able to do that. What I'm trying to say is that nobody expected it to get this bad. We were all caught unawares. And this isn't unique to India. This isn't unique to Uttarakhand. This isn't unique to Maharashtra. This happened in Italy. This happened in the US. The systems were completely overwhelmed. We have governments who are spending money to put in hospital beds. There is no nursing staff available. Like right now, there are 100 beds ready in Uttarakhand. There's no nursing staff and doctors available. So, this is a once in a century sort of phenomena that has taken all of us by a shock. I think what we really need to do going forward. And the feeling and the sense that I'm getting from experts is that, the next 1 month is going to not get much better. So I think what we really need to do is, really come together, all of us, collaborate, coordinate, and get through this, because there is no other way.
The BJYM also has launched a national helpline. One of the aspects which stands out, we won't talk about this panic situation. मुझे बेड की जरूरत पड़ सकती है, आज ठीक हूँ, कल बीमार हो गया तो रोक लेते हैं, होल्ड कर लेते हैं, मुझे नॉर्मल बेड नहीं, आईसीयू चाहिए, मुझे ये बेड नहीं, मुझे वो चाहिए. All of these things which are there, which are also creating a lot of issues, on ground, where people just don't want the first thing is you stay home. You believe you can beat it at home and you can do it. Unless you have a comorbidity, unless you're a senior citizen, unless your things are really going bad, why should you rush to a hospital? This is one of the things, Rishabh, which beats me. Where I have people like Zishan, Neha, all of you guys, Salman, Shahnawaz, there's so many more people, but there are also such COVIDiots who don't think twice about blocking a bed for themselves. They say, किसी और के बारे में मैं क्यों सोचूं? How do you knock sense into such people?
They're asymptomatic to the fact that they're oblivious to the fact that there is a pandemic. The sad thing is they live in these high rises, and I don't know whether I'm pretty sure everybody on the panel has some 2 or 3 friends who've been calling and saying, ये हो गया तो क्या होगा, तो ये हो गया तो क्या होगा, और तो मतलब क्या होगा, आपको क्या होगा? You live in a...
When is the lockdown ending? When is the lockdown ending? What happened? I said, listen, let me do my work here. Everyone wants to rush to Goa right now, which is actually that.
But Goa itself is in lockdown. So they've locked themselves.
No, but this is the problem. This is what the problem is. And these are the super spreaders. Ye log say these are the people who are also responsible in a way to cause the second surge. Because at the end of the day, these are the same people who were careless, who went to these different places, who didn't wear the mask. Forget double masking, single masks were not there. And I don't know how many cases.
Salman is coming from your Salman के phone से आ रहा है.
Hello.
Audio से आ रहा है. कोई बात नहीं.
Sorry.
No problem.
Sorry.
अरे it's only real होता है भाई. That's perfectly fine. Go ahead. Yes, Rishabh.
No. So this is what the thing is. On one side you have people like Salman helping, on the other side you have people who are coming from Goa and who are being the cause of the super spread, who are being the super spread. People who are living in these 6-bedroom apartments who are complaining, saying, look, what will happen to me tomorrow, living in the high rises of Pali Hill and South Delhi, and are complaining about nothing. So I really think that's the problem. These are the people who needs to be told, saying, don't block a bed. And I'm glad that these are the politicians that we have, the younger ones. But the problem is that the older ones should also not oblige. And that's what the bigger problem is. That, these are, Abhi, Anand, if in Delhi also, if you check on a normal hospital, 5 bed always blocked hai. But kiske liye blocked hai? Or किस कारण से blocked है? And I'm telling you, it's not the BJYM or it's not Zishan and these people who are doing it, but there are people who are doing it, and that's what needs to be solved. And unless and until those 5 beds are made available, you will have Salman and Shahnawaz only doing most of the work. That's basically what the problem is. And don't you agree, Martin? Don't you think this is a problem?
No, absolutely. I think there's also so much misinformation, right? India also has one of the most influential colleges in India is the WhatsApp University, where there is just so much, misinformation that's being spread. And in a situation like this that our country is in currently, that can be so damaging. It's proving to be so damaging right now.
No, I think one of the things social media influencers can do is to ensure that, you can spread this do-it-yourself thing. That you don't need to step out of your house. You can beat COVID at home. This rush to hospital, rush for an oxygen cylinder, rush for... Can you believe it? I had somebody who said, yaar, मैंने खरीद के लगा लिया remdesivir. भाई लॉजिक क्या है भाई?
No, but
नहीं यार थोड़ा feverish लग रहा था तो मैंने लगा लिया. अब ठीक हो जाऊंगा. I said, pause. तो कुछ सोच भी रहे हो, तुमको जरूरत भी नहीं है, जिसमें actually complicate your system and lead to further complications because you're doing something. अरे छोड़ो यार, ये इसी से लोग बचे. This is the kind of stuff that that I'm seeing.
Yes, but Anand, I think all of us currently, like all six of us on this panel right now know people that we know who we've lost, in the last week. And we know families who've lost so many people.
Yeah.
So that a certain level of panic is bound to happen. It's human. When you know somebody has lost their parent, has lost their sibling, you know that their oxygen level is dropping. They want to take the best precaution for their family member,
Yeah.
right?
No,
And then you
no,
mix
but
that
see,
in with obviously illiteracy.
taking precautions is one aspect, Masoom. But I'm just saying, yes, there are cases where people have lost their lives, but on a base of 1.38 billion people, you have 3 lakh recoveries, and you have 3,000 deaths. So should I worry? Should I not look at the 3 lakh recoveries? Should I not talk about the people? And should I not believe that I'm part of that 3 lakh tribe rather than the 3,000 tribe? Is that so difficult to do? What should I be focusing on? My energies on? Yes, my oxygen level will drop to 80, but does that mean it's dropped to 60? There is a difference. It may drop to 80, it may come down to say 78, 79, but it may go back up to 90 again. So what should I believe?
Can I want to say something about that. So I have two
Yeah.
points to make. One is that,
Yeah.
early medical intervention, that can really save the day. So what we're seeing is that there was a point at which people did not want to get tested because they thought, if we are COVID positive, we'll have to isolate, even if we don't have symptoms. And those people turned out to be super spreaders. They're the ones who went out, partied, went to Goa, Maldives, this, that, and they spread the virus. Then came a point where the system was so overwhelmed that we ran out of testing kits at several places in the country. The test reports are delayed almost like 5 years later. 5 days later, you're getting an RT-PCR report. So that's the point we are at here. So we've launched a doctor's helpline today. BJYM's launched a doctor's helpline, and the sole purpose behind that helpline is that can we get people early medical attention? So if you have a doubt, you're at home, you're feeling feverish, pick up the phone, call the doctor. And this is a multilingual helpline. So, if you're from Kerala, you'll find a doctor there, who can speak Malayalam. If you're from Andhra, you'll get your language. So there's a doctor who can speak to you in your language. He or she will calm you down, tell you these are the symptoms. If that doctor feels that you may have COVID, they're going to prescribe the COVID protocol. If they feel you need to see a local physician, they will tell you that. But at least, my consoling or comforting a person may not actually comfort them as much as a doctor is doing that will do. So we are very optimistic that having this doctor's helpline, which is like a pan-India initiative, and Tejasvi Surya, who's our national president, this is his brainchild, and this is something that he was very, very focused on. And, he's brought it together in record time. I think in 10 days, we've been able to pull this together. Over 650 doctors are part of this. We're really hoping that even in a small way, if we, for every day, if through these 650 doctors, we can stop 650 people from going to hospitals, whether it's for tests, whether it's for like regular checkup, for minor consultations, that is going to be success. The second point that I wanted to make was, we talked about, Masoom talked about, each of us have, experienced some amount of personal loss. I lost my cousin and her husband to COVID last week within a span of a week. We've felt this personally. This time it's very real. It's in your neighborhood, it's in your family. But at the same time, I, as an influencer in my own right, whether a social media influencer or an influencer in the community, I still feel that, I need to look beyond that loss and act responsibly. So especially for Instagram, see, I don't use Instagram a lot. I'm more active on Twitter and Facebook. I feel those mediums are a little more effective. But especially on Instagram, except for a few people like Masoom, who I said at the beginning of the show, I really admire her for a possibility. And, Amrita Thakur is another one who I've seen that, really trying to get a positive message out. But most influencers today, the focus is on negativity. Yes, people are dying. We've seen that in Italy. We've seen that in the rest of Europe. We've seen that in America. And when that happened there, we empathized with them, and we said prayers for them. Why can't we do that for our own country? Because this is a once in a century phenomenon. Nobody saw this coming. The prime minister couldn't see this coming. The chief ministers couldn't see this coming. I and you couldn't see this coming. So I think what's very important is that let's pitch in. I mean, if I'm sharing 5, really graphic videos of people dying outside hospitals or like cremation grounds, I mean, I actually call it pandemic porn. I don't want to do that, and I don't want to see that. I want to see resources. I want to see the 20-year-old who's sitting at home trying to verify leads that we are finding on social media. That's what we need right now, because really we are all in this together. The government is not losing relatives, we are losing relatives, we individuals. So let's step up. मैं सलमान भाई की बात से मैं उनको सीरियसली मैं सलाम करती हूँ जो उन्होंने कहा कि गवर्नमेंट अपना काम करेगी. And you are not government, but we in our own right can pitch in, and that's what we're doing. And I'm so happy that and so humbled कि मैं आप सबके साथ आज यहाँ पे बैठी हूँ.
No, मैं आपको बता रहा हूँ, एक डॉक्टर की बात बता रहा हूँ. That the doctor lost his father to COVID. He couldn't find a bed for his own father, but he spent 8 hours in the critical care and saved 8 lives. And his thought process is, I've lost my father, but can I save 8 more? I can't fight for him, I can't save him anymore, but my being here for 8 hours is going to save these lives. And can I at least do that for those people? Because I know the pain of losing somebody. Now, that is an attitude which I would like to salute, and I would hope that that tribe grows, tribe of people around here who are trying to say that. And the next time, when you push a message, I would rather push the message of people who are surviving, people who are helping, people who are recovering, because that is what I want to send. Irrespective of what has happened with me, my near and dear ones, or whatever experience I'm feeling, I just feel that is something all of us collectively owe to society at large. And is it so difficult to do? Because I don't know how you are able to say, let's spread pictures of fires, let's spread pictures of people dying, let's spread pictures of misery. Why would you want to do that? About my own country, why would I want to do that? Yes, if there were 3 lakh deaths and 3,000 recoveries, yes. But boss, we have 3 lakh recoveries and 3,000 deaths. 95% of the people are recovering. This is a number that I need to ensure it becomes 100%. But yes, the mortality rate across the world, we are one of the lowest at 1.1%. And if you compare our curves to other nations, we are still doing much better. Yes. Because we by default have a younger population, larger base of a younger population who are far more resistant to this, who are far more resilient and resistant to this virus. ये बात करनी चाहिए कि दूसरी बात करनी चाहिए. सलमान, आपके आसपास लोग हैं, आप थोड़ा बिजी है, पर आप एक बात बताइए, क्या आपको लोगों में ये जज्बा मिल रहा है? क्या आपको लोगों के साथ ये एटीट्यूड मिलता है जिनके साथ जिनकी आप मदद कर रहे हैं?
जी हाँ.
उनका ओवरऑल एटीट्यूड क्या रहता है?
ओवरऑल एटीट्यूड तो सर, लोग तो यही समझ रहे हैं कि एक दूसरे की जब तक हेल्प नहीं करेंगे, हम ये पैंडेमिक से उभर नहीं पाएंगे. एक दूसरे के साथ से ही, एक दूसरे के साथ चल के ही हम ये पैंडेमिक से आगे बढ़ सकते हैं सर.
बहुत सही बात कही है. Rishabh, final word, we got to wind up.
No, I think it's important to spread positivity, like Neha said, on Instagram, on Twitter, on Facebook, on that university which everybody deems to be the best university in the world, called WhatsApp University. The important thing is now to start spreading smiles and also helping people as much as we can. Not to reflect upon everybody's, I think, summarize this, that everyone's faced some or the other loss, but at the end of the day, to keep a brave face and try to put other people in a way, to make other people feel in a way that everything is okay. Because at the end of the day, if we don't keep people's mood upbeat, I think it's going to be a very, very difficult time. We're staring at a month and a half, which I feel personally is going to be a very difficult month. And if we're not going to keep it together, especially the young people, then I think it's going to be a problem. I keep saying this at IMON, saying by the young people, for the country. And I think that's what essentially is happening in the country. It's by young people for the rest of the nation. But it's a pleasure, and thank you very much, Zishan, real life hero who's working on ground. Zishan, thanks so much. And also Salman ji, thank you.
Thank you.
And
pleasure, sir.
Neha and Masoom, thank you so very much for doing this.
Thank you.
Thank you, Anand, for allowing this to happen on news, because at the end of the day, whenever we see news, we only see negative stuff. So it's good to see there's some positive that's happening.
Well, contrary to popular belief, I have always maintained that in times of distress, all you need to have is dispel hope. As long as you are able to talk about hope and show that silver lining, show the light at the end of the tunnel, there is a belief that we will get there, and that's what needs to be done. It's tough, but that's my commitment, and I hope all of us are able to bring some cheer despite individually facing lots of despair and doom and gloom. We've got to rise above that and believe that we as a nation can beat this. Thank you everyone. Thank you very much.